Good day, everyone. I am Quintola Fadairo. I am an associate trainee at Allen Solicitors, and I am the moderator for today's debate. The debate case study goes like this: Allen Telecommunications is a new telecommunication company, and their management has decided that they would not be interconnecting with any network providers. However, they have come to us to seek our professional advice on the benefits and the risk attached to interconnecting with other network service providers. My team and I have decided to group ourselves, and then we have the team A and the team B. Before we go into it, I want them to introduce themselves. Team A, please.
Good day, everyone. My name is Amazing Grace Adewumi. I'm a 300 level law student of the University of Ibadan and an undergraduate trainee at Allen Solicitors.
Good day, everyone. I'm Shokoluwa Akibeye, and I'm an associate trainee at Allen Solicitors.
Good day, everyone. My name is William Oketopi, a 400 level law student at the University of Ibadan. I'm an undergraduate trainee at Allen Solicitors.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ewalua Makinde, a 500 level law student of the University of Ibadan, and I'm an undergraduate trainee at Allen Solicitors.
Good day, everyone. My name is Timidayo Arewa. I'm an undergraduate at University of Ibadan 500 level law, and I'm an undergraduate trainee at Allen Solicitors.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ulysses Diaka, a 400 level student at the University of Ibadan. I'm a graduate trainee at Allen Solicitors.
Alright, so let's get right into it. Team A, let's have it.
Have you ever wondered or thought about what makes it possible for calls to successfully put through across various and different mobile networks, or what allows the MTN subscriber to call a Glo subscriber and vice versa and other mobile network? The answer to this question is interconnection. Interconnection is what makes it possible for a Glo subscriber to call an MTN subscriber and vice versa and also other mobile networks. So now, what is interconnection? According to Section 157 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003, interconnection is the physical and logical linking and connection of communication systems used and operated by same and different licensee to convey message to and send to convey message to and from respective to convey message to and from respective systems for the provision of services. So now, Section 96 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003 also imposes a legal obligation on licensees who provide network services and also who operate network facility to interconnect with another licensee. And also, it is also important to note that there is an interconnection agreement, and also there must also be an interconnection request. In other words, there must be an interconnection request from the requesting party to the requested party. The requesting party is the party making the interconnection request, while the requested party is the party to whom the interconnection request is being made to. And in every interconnection agreement, there must be just two parties to an interconnection agreement. And every interconnection agreement is regulated by the NCA 2003. My fellow colleagues will take it up from here.
Now, I'll be talking about the benefits of interconnection. What are the reasons why we would advise Allen Telecoms to interconnect with other service providers? First, it will prevent monopoly. Interconnection ensures that a single telecommunication company does not take up the full market dominance and does not regulate the market by this dominance. By Allen Telecommunications interconnecting with MTN or Airtel, it will ensure that MTN does not sustain the sole dominating power of the telecommunications industry. Another importance of interconnection is that it ensures market expansion. When net interconnection of telecom operators happens, it ensures that Alliance Telecoms can expand into the client base of MTN or Airtel, and thereby be able to generate revenue and allow their consumer to be able to reach subscribers to the network of MTN or Airtel. Another importance of interconnection is that it ensures cost efficiency. Network providers like MTN, Airtel can also connect with Alliance Telecommunications and share infrastructure such as masts or towers, and thereby reducing the cost of managing this infrastructure of of buying equipment, and they can reassign this revenue that is saved into maybe generating customers or into advertisement. Another importance of interconnection is expansion of network coverage. If island telecommunication does not connect with people using with MTN or Airtel, people who are subscribers to island telecommunications will not be able to reach people who are subscribing to MTN or Airtel. And this will also lead to another benefit of interconnection in that people who are using island telecoms will have to buy MTN network, will have to buy Airtel network, Globalcom network, so as to be able to reach people on these separate networks. If island telecoms does not connect with other service providers, there is a possibility that it will be only their family members or their employees who will be buying their network, because they will not be able to reach people using other networks, so they will just call themselves alone. Another importance of interconnection is that it ensures seamless international communication. By interconnection, people who are in London or people who are in America can communicate with people who are in Nigeria, because there is already an interconnection with these network providers in separate countries, and it ensures that people who are in separate countries can reach themselves through call roaming or through data connection. Another importance of interconnection is that it ensures the need, it prevents the need for consumers to register several networks, which I've already explained as one of the importance of interconnection. Lastly, it creates an enabling environment for the development of new technologies. Island telecoms would not be able to thrive in the telecommunications industry without connecting with other service providers who are already seen as dominant in the telecommunications industry. If island telecommunication does not connect with MTN or Airtel, people who are using island telecommunication would not be able to reach people who are using MTN or Airtel. And this will mean that island telecommunication will not be able to generate revenue, will not be able to enlarge its client base, and this will also mean that the company inherently is liable to fail without interconnection.
In conclusion, with culture to section 157 of the Nigeria Communication Act 2003, we've already given you the definition of interconnection. And in relation with that, we've already given you the benefits, we've said the benefits of interconnection. However, there are some instances whereby the island telecoms communication will not be able to interconnect with other service provider. Firstly, in a situation whereby the law prohibits island telecom to interconnect with other service provider, they will not be able to interconnect in such a situations. Also, in a situation whereby an infracost, who are the infracosts? The infracosts are the infrastructure communications. Their primary objective is to focus on the infrastructural facilities. They are not allowed to interconnect with the MNOs. Who are the MNOs? The likes of the MTN, including the Allen Telecom Communication, which is just coming on board. Also, in a situation whereby the Allen, in a situation whereby the in a situation whereby they interconnect, there's no point of interconnection between the Allen telecommunications and other service provider. In Allen telecommunication will not be able to interconnect with in as much as these points are not on the way. There's no reason why Allen telecommunications should not interconnect with other telecommunication provider. With these few points of us, we believe that Allen telecommunication should interconnect, and we strongly advise them that they should interconnect with other telecommunication operators.
Thank you. So now let's get to the team B and they tell us the risk attached to island telecommunication not interconnecting with other service providers. Team B.
Thank you very much, moderator. I want you to picture this. You built a house with your hard-earned money. You designed it to your taste, and then you installed the best security systems. Then one day, you are told that you have to leave your doors open for anyone to walk in and use your space because it is considered to be fair and beneficial to the public. That sounds ridiculous, right? That is exactly what interconnection does in the telecommunications industry. Section 96 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003 makes it obligatory for any requested party upon written notice to interconnect. Interconnection forces service providers who have invested billions into their networks to share their infrastructure with competitors, weakening the edge they have over others, increasing security risk, and ultimately reducing the quality of services for consumers. My opponent has already defined interconnection according to the Nigerian Communications Act. Moving on from there, The World Trade Organization also defines interconnection as linking with suppliers providing public telecommunications transport networks or services in order to allow the user of one supplier to communicate with the users of another supplier and have access to their services. In the telecommunications industry, interconnection is always seen as a step to natural growth. My opponent has argued that it promises wide connectivity, seamless communication, and access to a large customer base. However, what is rarely discussed are the hidden risks that come with it. While interconnection might seem like an attractive opportunity, it can also become a strategic tool that can weaken rather than strengthen a company's position. Today, I and my learned colleagues will show you why interconnection, despite its so-called benefits, is a bad deal for telecom providers and their customers alike. Interconnection with other network facilities opens door to cybersecurity threats. Before two telecommunication service providers can interconnect, there must be POI. That is point of interconnection, which means that a breach in one network can easily compromise interconnected systems, exposing LM telecoms to security risks, to service disruptions and data leaks. My opponent has argued that interconnection aids seamless communication, but what they have just told you is a half truth, which is as good as a lie. This same interconnection, which can bring about seamless communication, can also lead to service disruption, which is popularly known as network jam. You can wonder why you may wonder why you call your mom, who is a Yoruba woman, and then an Hausa man is picking it up. That is a network jam. That leads to service disruptions. Another second point of mine is that interconnection leads to loss of competitive advantage. There is something called antitrust laws. Antitrust laws are regulations which promote fair competitions between competitors, and Section 4 Subsection 1 Paragraph D of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003 provides that network service providers must engage in fair competition. Meanwhile, if you don't have an edge over others, how do you want to compete with them successfully? I will hand over to my next colleague to continue this conversation. Thank you.
In 2016, 14 telecommunication service providers were declared by the Nigerian Communications Commission as inactive simply because they could not settle their interconnection debts. Amongst them, we had Starcoms, Reliance Telecoms that was operating as Zoom, ONET, popularly known as Odua Telecoms, to mention but a few. Amidst billions of unpaid debts and constant threats of disconnection to these service providers, it has become glaring that interconnection is not a thriving system. We must note amongst ourselves as learned colleagues that simply because something seems to have been working fine for a period of time does not mean that it is sustainable. My first argument will be based on the debt crisis. Let's talk numbers. Nigeria boasts of over 160 million telecommunication subscribers. However, since 2003, only four MNOs, mobile network operators, have been able to stand the test of the time, including MTN, Globalcom, Airtel, and Nine Mobile. However, it might interest you to know that amongst these four, several of them are facing financial crises, and one of them that faces financial debt constantly is our very own Globalcom. In July 2019, MTN announced that it was going to disconnect Globalcom and its customers for over 4 billion naira interconnection debt that was being owed to it by Globalcom, except they were able to settle this debt. While this issue was eventually resolved, the issue of interconnection debt again raised its ugly edge in October of the very same year, where Airtel announced that 47 million subscribers of Globalcom will be put on disconnection notice, except Globalcom can settle their debts within 10 days. In all of this drama, Nine Mobile has not been left aside. Nine Mobile recorded in 2019 a substantial dip in the numbers of subscribers to their network simply because they could not discharge their disconnection charges. Although it might seem like MTN is a perpetrator, they are also a victim in this whole drama. NCC has recorded in his report that NCC has recorded in his report that about 13.9 billion naira is being owed to MTN, a whopping 40% of the total interconnection debt in the country. Can you imagine that? Now you are saying interconnection. Interconnection is not just a problem that has started today, and I do not advise this for Alliance Telecoms because according to the MCC, these debts are not just isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a flawed and unsustainable system. And we to say that Alliance Telecoms, which is just branching into the sector, will not also be a victim of this system. My second argument is going to be based on the illusion of regulation. We all agree that the Nigerian Communication Commission is the one that is in charge of regulating interconnection rates in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, in November 2021, the Commission issued the determination of mobile international termination rates, which sets the floor price of international termination rates at $0.045. Also, the local termination rates were set at 3 naira 90 kobo for 2G, 3G, and 4G networks, while it was also set at 4 naira and 70 kobo for newer long-term evolution and 5G networks. However, are these rates really effective? We ask ourselves. Operators with larger numbers, for example, MTN with 690 million subscribers, have the advantage to negotiate better terms in interconnection agreements, and this will favour them and leave less buoyant operators with the shorter end of the stick. At the end of the day, the agreement is only one-sided, and then the playing field is no more equal for all mobile telecommunications operators. This has also led to illegal activities such as call masking, whereby operators that do not have the means mask international calls to look like local calls just so they can pay lesser interconnection rates. Also, experts have noticed that the Nigerian Communication Commission has not properly sanctioned Globacom because, as I earlier said, Globacom is the Nigerian telecommunication operator and the NCC is trying to protect it. Obviously, this current system favours some larger operators and it leaves smaller ones struggling and creating an uneven playing field. Who is to say that Alliance Telecommunication, who is just entering into this system, is not going to be affected as a lesser communication operator? The previously mentioned 14 interconnection, the previously mentioned 14 telecommunication operators who were rendered inactive is a perfect example of where the lesser communication operators are at a disadvantage. It is therefore obvious and it behoves that there is a need for change. The International Telecommunications Union has identified that interconnection is a major global problem in the telecommunications industry. This just goes to show that NCC is not fighting a unique battle to only Nigeria. It also proves that interconnection is not only a local problem but a global problem, and it means that it requires new systems that is going to solve these problems better.
So in conclusion, with the points already stipulated by my fellow colleagues, first and foremost is the issue of data privacy, where where companies who are using old infrastructure have their systems hacked by cybersecurity threats and the user information being stolen, as well as their subscribers being affected too. Also is the issue of complexity in agreements. In every interconnectivity agreement across networks, there have to be contractual set agreements. And where there is interconnectivity agreements across a variety of networks, it creates an increasing complexity, thus making it difficult for contracts to be created among these networks and contracts that also need to be upgraded. Also, furthermore, is the issue of unfair prices being imposed on already established institutions and companies on those who want to come into the new industry. For example, if Harlem solicitors now seeing that Harlem Telecommunications wants to come into the new system, there is a high probability that MTN, in an attempt to hold monopoly of the industry, will want to increase high termination prices on new and incoming companies like Harlem Telecommunications, thus making it difficult for the industry to expand and to provide for better inclusion for other companies who want to start out into the industry. Also is the issue of lacking in infrastructure, where there's interconnectivity across different companies who want to share equipment and infrastructure. Certain companies will want to lack in improving their own infrastructure through interdependence on other companies through interconnectivity. Thus, it will reduce the amount of innovation within each company and it will reduce the amount of improvement in equipment within each company, thus creating a lower service being provided to their customers. Also, the issue of congestion in networking among interconnectivity and companies who are providing interconnectivity for their subscribers, where there's interconnectivity among various operators on one line being used. Because of interconnectivity, it increases congestion and makes it difficult for these lines to get through, thus making it an issue across subscribers and users of the network. I believe that I and my colleagues have provided enough information as regards the issue of interconnectivity and how it is not advisable, especially for companies that are just entering into the industry. Thank you.
Thank you for the well constructed argument, and I am sure that by now ILM Telecommunications is well aware of the benefits and the risk attached to interconnecting with other network service providers. And by now, I am sure that the management will be able to make a well-informed decision as to as to either connecting or choosing not to connect with other service providers. Thank you.